Hello and welcome to Flashback. This is episode 35. And again, we're doing these top 10 games for new retro players. And this time it's the PSP. So we'll be picking 10 games we think are must-buys for a new collector. I'm RGT, and as always, I am joined by, he can't disagree, the best handheld is a PSP. He's always full of glee when watching a film on UMD. All of Farmerton could hear him yell when he tried a PSP reshell. That's UCP George. How you doing, George?
Oh, mate, that was brilliant because every single one of those things is true. I would love to get into this where we do another one where we go through our top 10 UMD movies. But
that's actually a great show, that is.
Yeah, well, it'll be nice. Maybe we could bring the Ray on to help us with that because he's the movie guru. So maybe we could bring him up the drive at the start of the episode and we could pick through. I mean, I've got a plethora of those things and I've always been a fan of them. And I often still to this day will take the PSP away with a slew of those movies in my back pocket. Because what a great device the PSP is. Not only was it games, it was music, it was movies, it was maybe an iPhone in your pocket before we knew we even needed it, you know, especially with the PSP mini games you could download from the store or buy your PS3. Great bit of kit. And I'm really actually quite excited to get into this. I mean, my games are probably the most middle of the road Joe average titles that you could ever pick, but I think they're great experiences on the little handheld console, and I'm looking to find out what yours are, RGT.
Yes, I think you know, with PSP, like you say, some of them will be quite obvious choices, and we've done this with a few of ours, but we don't want to leave the good ones out, and sometimes it does mean obvious ones, but also there'll probably be people listening here who are thinking about getting a PSP and getting a collection who haven't yet. And this is a great little pointer in a way to get yourself a good set of 10 games that will keep you busy for quite a while.
Yeah, and to that point, I know a lot of PSPs can be hacked. And if you're one of those crazy cats that's gone down that road, or you've managed to get like a reworked one off of the internet, then these are maybe the first 10 games you should try on there, bare minimum, without even going off and purchasing the physical copies. We're Flashbacks, we're always going to advocate OG hardware and physical copies, are we not, RGT? But we know there are other ways.
Yes, and also with, you know, as of recording the way things are going with digital and physical copies, prices have started to skyrocket, and especially on PS3, PSP as well has been caught up a bit in this crossfire. So, yeah,
because these are 50p games for the longest time.
Oh, they're not now. This when I was writing this script and researching some of these, I was like, yeah, that's not a £2 game anymore. So it's going to be interesting. So yeah, but yeah, sit back, relax, get yourself a cup of coffee, and just let us go through our 10 games and see if there's any that take your fancy. There'll be some that are a bit left field. There'll be some that are obvious. There'll be some that might not be so obvious. But let's start with you, George, and your first pick. Which PSP game do you think new collectors should get first?
Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Hideo Kojima's final entry on the PSP, and probably one of the greatest Metal Gear Solid games. Like, yeah, I know it can be a bit repetitive. I know it's probably not got the strength and conviction of some of the mainline games, but you know, this one carried on the Fulton recovery mechanic. I personally love this game. It's great for pick up and play. Graphically, it looks fantastic as well. If you want a game that makes your PSP sweat, this would definitely be it. Obviously, you got the base building challenges that go along with it. It's just, if Hideo's going to do something, and obviously, you know, he famously made that Game Boy game, I think, that worked in light and dark or was solar charged and you could like take it out in the sun. When he decides to make something for a console and he goes all in on it, he makes it work with that console in a way that's like nothing else. And
yeah, you don't seem to get a lot of port with him. He makes them for the console, don't he? You know,
he 100% does. And this has always been like a marvel to me. It feels like, yeah, maybe more the PS2 versions, but somewhere between PS2 and PS3 because of the mechanics that are in this. I've absolutely loved the wheels off it. I've really enjoyed playing it. You know, to speak of like the box art on the, you know, the cart on the UMD, And the logo here is like a B-52 bomber, but in the shape of a peace sign. Like all the iconography that's in here is just fantastic. It is maybe a little bit easier than your normal Metal Gear Solids, but I think that fits the form factor. And compared to the other two Metal Gear Solid games on PSP, which are basically almost like real-time strategy or sort of card battling games, it was a way of like cutting them down and getting them on there. I think they're Acid and Acid 2. This one is the real deal, the full fat, the one you've been waiting for. And if you sat there at home now thinking, oh, yeah, I could do with a little bit of action on the PSP. If you only had one game and you had this, I think you'd be stoked about it. So, yeah, please go check that out. RGT, have you had any experience with Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, friend?
No, I haven't. I've got Acid, but I haven't played Peace Walker. I keep meaning to pick it up. But while I was,
Yeah, acid nearly killed my sort of like. No, I don't want this
yeah,
experience. And I kind of thought they'd all be like that. And then many years ago, I kind of saw a little article about Peace Walker, and I thought, oh, hang on a minute. Oh, it is the real deal.
mm. And I'd done a bit of, like I say, when I was researching this, a few of them I looked up sort of online, had a look at the gameplay. You're correct; it looks very good for a PSP game. Um, I know I always say this, but back in the day, if you had a PSP, you picked this up on launch, popped it in, was playing it on your way home, you'd be blown away. I mean, you had
Oh,
a
completely.
full-on console experience in your pocket of Metal Gear and a different one as well. So yeah, it looks very good. I haven't played it; it's on my list to pick up. I must pick it up for the PSP. But yeah, it's again, that's where I think sometimes these handheld consoles shine
Mm.
because you have got these separate versions. If you're a big fan of Metal Gear Solid, you're more inclined to pick a PSP up to get this version to play this different game. It gives you more options and a different game to play. But yeah, I think that's a great choice.
Chronology wise as well, it fits into the timeline in a really great way, and that's a significant like story lifting element for the other games. Especially Metal Gear Solid 4 or 5 even. There are threads in here that you will reutilize. The Fulton collection balloon. You tag a guard, he gets whipped up in the air, plane comes along, collects him up. Next time you see him, he's at your base and you're employing him on different missions and sending him out.
that's
So
brilliant. Yeah.
it fits around that whole kind of quick go, slap it on standby, stick it in my pocket, scan my bus pass, go on, sit down, pull it out again, carry on another 10 minutes. I'll do this, that, and the other, back in the pocket, get off the bus, walk to work, go in, dinner time, pick it up. It's got that vibe to it as well. It kind of rewards that kind of playthrough of it. So I know it's one of those games where I know we praise the Switch too, but those games are really all now just full fat, no compromise home console versions that you get the perk of taking on the go. The PSP and some of the other games that I'm going to talk about still had that sort of engineered factor where they were respectful of the fact that they were a portable game,
Mm.
but without any of the downsides that you typically associate with maybe Nintendo's efforts where, if Metal Gear's on the Game Boy, it's literally a top-down 8-bit version as it was on the MSX back in the day or whatever it was. So
Mm.
it's those moments where you're like, yeah, okay, this is almost like the perfect hybrid.
Mm. Mm, definitely. And I think, like you say about Switch 2 as well, we love our Switch 2s, like we say, we love our Switches, but it's not as easy, if you're on the bus to work, to pull that out of your inside pocket of your jacket and start
Absolutely
playing.
not. No, you'd look a
PSP,
weirdo.
you could even just have that little sock case on the PSP, pull it out, play a couple of, play a level of Peace Walker back in, carry on. It had that real form factor you could put
Hmm.
in your coat pocket. You tend to have a bag if you got a Switch 2. So it really did fit in. And you'll find with a lot of these titles, they fit in with that gameplay style quite well. But yeah, that's a great choice for your first one.
Thank
So
you. What
yeah,
have you
Metal Gear
brought to the
Solid.
party then?
Um, well, this is a game I've had as a PS2 hidden gem over on Unofficial Controller podcast. And you'll see why as well when we get to the end, why I've also picked this as well on the PSP version. But this is Jackass the game. Now,
Mm.
this was a game that went under the radar, um, didn't score very well. Some people didn't even score it at all. not many people are interested in this game. Now it's got a little bit of a cult following. It is skyrocketed in price in 18 months, and it's quite collectible. Now, yes, everyone knows what Jackass is. Yes, it's silly. Yes, it's stupid. The basic premise of the game is the director has hurt himself. I won't say how he's hurt himself because it's a family show, but he's hurt himself. And you take over directing the show, and you have to control a different participant on each level. And if you max each level out by getting all the conditions correct, then you open up other stuff and other things you can do later in the game. If you play this with friends and taking turns on levels, this is so much fun. It is so silly, but it is brilliant, you know. And I was thinking we had on our challenge accepted unofficial controller podcast, they had one of the challenges. I think the last one was Roblox, and you had to get as many injuries by jumping off this. This is like the daddy for that, and one of these is you have to get like £100,000 worth of damage. You know, I think your first level, you've got Steve-O, and you guide him with your trigger buttons, your bumper buttons, and you have to guide him round the rocks. And there's different things you have to do, and you keep replaying it. Oh, you got to drop in that pool, get him in there. £100,000 worth of injuries. Can you jump over 20 meters off a rock? You know, and you have to find all these out and do it. It is stupid fun, but it is so much fun. And this actually added on. This had more to it than what the PS2 version did. It had like so you could do I can't remember what they called it now. You could join your, was it
Ad hoc.
ad hoc modes? You could play two-player on it. And I think it had a different couple of extra different levels. They did do a version on the DS, which apparently is terrible. But the PS2,
To my point earlier of the kind of cutbacks you'd normally experience, but you don't here.
yeah, yeah. So this came out pretty much day and date with the PS2 version. So I think this one went under the radar quite a lot on the PSP. They were both out in September 2007. And it is just silly fun. And like I say, back in the day, it was getting 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10s. Some of the reviewers didn't bother with it. Two out of 5. And
Wow.
I think people missed what the game was about. I think they thought that was going to be this high in-depth game. It's not. It's a silly party mini game. You know, a sort of really stupid adult version of Mario Party. You know,
Yeah.
but it really works and it is great fun. Now, like I say, you'll see at the end especially why I'm pushing for the PSP version now. But you know, it is good, and because they knew, I don't know why they did do it so much on the PS2. We tend to play single player on the PS2 and take in turns. On this, they added that ad hoc mode, so if you had someone else with a PSP, you could play a two-player as well, and
That's great.
it is just great fun. And also, I think they added in that you could, if you had really silly replays, you could save the replays on the PSP, whereas you couldn't on the PS2 one, and you could actually upload them online as well. So
Mm.
obviously not nowadays, but you could back then. So add them extra features.
I've often, to that ad hoc mode and some of the multiplayer aspects that the PSP exhibits, even to this day, if you can find enough people in a room with one. I wasn't in the military when the PSP came out. I just left. But I tell you what, get two, three lads in the mess, get this, and you're all sat
Oh
there,
God, there
not
is.
even in the same room. Maybe one's in his bed, as long as it's close enough for it to work, and then all of a sudden you're kind of there playing online with your mates, but within your own mate circle, and the idea of that I think is genius. I think the PSP has always worked in terms of like a portable gaming console, but then you add into that next echelon of like you've got some mates you're working away with, either in the military or on a building site or whatever, and you're staying in digs. The PSP would have been, and I'd love for someone to get in contact through the episode to say, oh yeah, that's what it was like. We had like 30 of us all playing it and we're all connected up. And, it's those stories that I kind of missed out on that I'd love to hear. Where the PSP, a load of people maybe got Monster Hunter and they went off on missions together and they had this great
Oh,
time. They'd
brilliant,
go and sit,
fantastic, yeah.
on a bridge somewhere and they'd be sat playing games like that. It's an element of the PSP that's kind of died and been lost to like lore and legend, but
Mm,
these things definitely happen. Like Wipeout with your mate on launch day, I bet would have been absolutely buzzing. Then you go off and watch your little private UMD
mm.
on your own in your own time.
Well,
Um,
the silly thing is as well, while researching this, two or three of my games, the actual if you like, definitive edition isn't the PS2 version. If it had one, it was the PSP. The
Isn't that
PSP had,
amazing?
yeah, and this my next game when we get onto that again. The definitive edition is the PSP version.
Wow.
It had more added to it, and you just think that's incredible,
Mm,
And I would imagine they've done that because the PS2 version came out first on some of these. Encourages you to buy the game again on your handheld to play it again. But I mean, but like Jackass came out at the same time. I mean, there was two missions that still stick in my mind. I love today. There's one where you've got a garden catapult and you're firing Steve over. It's all these row of gardens, and your mission is there'll be one where you have to land in someone's pool. You got one you have to go through a greenhouse. It's stupid, but it's actually a really good addictive game. It's so funny. And another one you're playing golf with grenades, and you have to hit it into this mansion. So there's one of them's blow up the sports car, completely demolish the mansion, hit the garage, go in the bathroom window, all stupid things like that. But it's so fun. It's really
that's
addictive.
great.
And I've come back. I mean, I've 100% of the game on PS2, done all the levels, maxed them all out with friends and family. And we still come back and play it again on a rare occasion. We all get together. What should we play? Oh, have you got that Jackass? Let's put that on again because it's just a laugh a minute. It's brilliant. So yeah, definitely recommend that on the PSP.
Brilliant choice.
What you got for your second game then, George?
The much trodden but still absolutely brilliant Gran Turismo on the PSP.
Mm,
I think we talked about this on our Grab 'em Before They're Gone Sony exclusive trilogy game trilogy series that we did for Flashback. But I mean, what more can be said about this? Like, we waited a day and an age for this to finally come out on PSP, but when we did, we were very much rewarded with, a great game. Like, yes, it does vibe against maybe the classic PS Gran Turismo way of playing, i.e., get your licenses and then go on the little tours. On this one, the kind of all the tracks are open. I think you'd still do licenses. It's been a hot minute since I played it, but I still think you do your licenses. But after that, you just kind of race on circuits again and again and again to build the money up. And again, in a bid to its portable roots, what you find yourself doing is hopping on a daily basis because the cars aren't all available all of the time.
mm,
So you need to keep checking as it randomly generates the cars that come up that you want to collect. So you're like, oh, has my car come up for sale today? I better have a look on the PSP. Oh, no, okay. Do a couple of races, get some more money in the bank. Okay. Done in the pocket. Next day, oh, yeah. Crikey, I haven't played. Oh, it's available now. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I've got the money saved. Like, boom. It's that sense of ownership, that sense of like rarity. And I didn't really talk about this element before, but it was that sort of one moment in time where you kind of see your dream motor and it's like, yeah, I got to get that. And much like Peace Walker, where it's that daily check-in, it's that look, but it's definitely sculpted around that kind of portable pick up and play style. In terms of like the Gran Turismo handling, the car models and the graphics and everything looks sublime. Really pushes the PSP again to the max. Um, this kind of varies graphically across the different models, like PSP 1000 to 3000. I think a lot of it's to do with the screen. I will still always be a fan of the representation that the PSP 1000 does because I'm just OG like that. But I think I'll be the first one to say that the screen and the 3000 literally knocks everything else out of the park. But there's something nice about that 1000 screen where it's like the original. It's got
mm.
the piano black. It's got that sort of Sony launch aesthetic about it. But no, Gran Turismo on the PSP is a wonderful game. Makes great use of the nubbin, as I call it, or the singular analog stick that you find on the PSP. And does a driving game need more than one input? No, of course it doesn't. So this works quite well from a steering and driving point of view. The ability to vary it in with the analog stick feels good. And again, I'm a bit fearful of RGT doing his classic of telling me this is like 400 quid now, but for the longest time, this was very affordable. It just was hard to find. I don't know why. I guess everyone who ever got it was kind of kept it because it was, one of those games. But definitely look it out. Replays look fantastic, and there's lots to reward here and plenty of game to go at RGT. So
Mm.
I'll leave it there. What's your experience with it?
Again, I got it pretty much soon after I got my PSP. Always been a massive fan, as everyone knows, of Gran Turismo, so definitely picked this up. Was impressed from day one. Yes, it is a
Mm,
scaled down Gran Turismo game, but what I liked was I always thought what was lacking on handhelds, it's always been lacking on handhelds, basically because of the tech, but also because of, um, I don't know, because of the era, I suppose. We always had arcade races. We never got really anything serious.
No.
But Polyphonic thought, no, we can put a serious racer on this handheld. It's powerful enough. Let's do it. And you got it, and I just think you don't get many of those on handheld systems. There's always a Ridge Racer or an arcade racer, and it works really well. It plays really well. It's a new sort of format, like I say, scaled down version of Gran Turismo.
Mm.
But it's got, if you like racing games and you're going to collect for a PSP, it's got to be a must, because it is such a good game, and
Yeah, it took me a while to track it down. Like I said, I don't think it's because it was a limited print run. I think it's just one of those games that if you got a PSP, you probably bought it and you just kept it in the drawer, you know. Why would you get rid of that?
mm. And I think a lot of them, if I remember rightly, were probably pack-ins. So a
Mm.
lot of them titles went with the systems they were bought for. Um,
Yeah, I've got like the normal retail PSP version just in a box, and then I've got one with like a cardboard slip as well. I mean,
yeah,
no
so I
different
got
at
both
all.
those. Yeah, yeah,
But the cardboard slip's kind of got like a lenticular. The writing's not white; it's like in a lenticular, so it's kind of
yeah.
like
It's
that
nice.
shiny
Yeah.
diamond color when you move it around. There's versions of it to get, and if you end up being a fan of it, why not treat yourself to the big boy version like
Mm.
I did?
Yeah, and I think there was always something about the PSP where it felt a very grown up piece of tech,
Mm,
with the UMDs, the movies, the music. It felt like you say, like an iPhone in a game, an iPhone in your pocket that we didn't think we wanted, but we got and realized we needed. And then to get a
yeah.
real grown up racing game on it as well, it felt like a proper bit of tech when you had that in there. Gran
Oh, it
Turismo,
did. You know.
really, really good. But yeah, that's a great choice. Gran Turismo PSP is a great game. Um, my second one, probably pretty obvious again, but I think this is just a great game. I had choice between the two, but I went with Vice City Stories, Grand Theft
Mm,
Auto. I went between this and Liberty City Stories, but I think Vice City Stories got that little bit more. I think you can swim in this one where you can't. Liberty City Stories,
yeah.
that's a bit more of a GTA 3 clone, bit more, as this is obviously Vice City where I'd affected the engine a bit more. Um, but yeah, this was done. Rockstar Leeds and Rockstar North done this. This came out in 2006. In Europe was November, North America October, and it's just that Vice City goodness. But this one you play as a prequel to Vice City, and you play as Lance Vance's brother, Vic. I believe his name is Vic Vance, and you leave the army and you have to try and work your way up, earning money however you can throughout the criminal underworld to get medication for your other brother. So it's a lovely prequel version to go into that Vice City story, that crossover. Um, but it is just, again, it's a game when you play and you think this does feel as good as a PS2 game. It feels as big, it plays as well. Um, and also, again, the PSP version had, added multiplayer mode with the wireless ad hoc network again. Um, and also, it was one of the best selling PSP games, 7 million that sold,
Mm.
which is quite incredible for a
Have you
handheld game.
researched this, or have you just come armed with this information out of your head? Because this is incredible.
Yes, no, it's true. Yes, multiplayer mode through wireless ad hoc network allows 6 players to engage in several
You've read
different game
this.
modes. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So
That's a bit like bloody hell, RGT.
yeah, no,
Bloody
no,
hell.
yeah, no, that's all correct. Yeah. So yeah, I just think if you're a Grand Theft Auto fan, there's not many people that aren't. They love especially that era of Grand Theft Autos, that
Hmm.
open world, that mission based. Um, you're not really missing out on anything by having it on a handheld. It's just great. And also, I mean, definitely as well, if you enjoy this, pick up Liberty City Stories as well, because they're both worth having. I mean, they've done the Chinatown Wars.
I've got
Obviously,
that.
yeah, which is obviously that more top-down, cel-shaded sort of version, which although graphically superior to the DS version, like George said on a previous episode, it fits better to the DS with those sort of mini games and bits and pieces. But
It feels a bit wild on the PSP. It
yeah,
kind of makes sense. It's got the similar sort of theft mechanic as like a Warriors game, but when you were doing that with a little Wii stylus and whatnot, it just felt more involved. And
Yeah,
that was the system it originated on. It's where it feels at home at. You can get
exactly.
it
Yeah,
here, don't get me wrong,
yeah, yeah.
but it's not the same.
No. Um, again, I mean, Metacritic, this outscored the PS2 version. PS2 was 75 out of 100. The PSP was 86 out of 100. So quite a significant jump.
Hmm.
And then it was 8 out of 10s, 4 out of 5s, 9 out of 10s, pretty much across the board, 90 out of 100s. It's just, again, it's probably an obvious choice for people who have PSPs, I know, but anyone coming into it new who's
And
not
that's
really
who these are
played.
for. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And if the PS2 wasn't your original console as a kid, so you're only now getting into these sort of big games and you're thinking of getting a PSP, you can't go far wrong with Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. So yeah, great game. What's your experience with this, George? Did you play it at launch or get it later
No,
or
no, no. I didn't have a PSP at launch. Like I say, I was probably in the wrong moment of my life. I went back into the home console scene at that point. But both of these games, absolute genius and absolute kudos to Sony for getting their sort of major IP across to their portable handheld. I don't know what jiggery pokery Rockstar performed to get that those both these games on a singular UMD and then also on the PSP and running in a way that felt decent and coherent. If you're talking emulators, this is one of the games that the emulators are probably going to struggle with. So playing it native is a big win on the PSP. And I would say it feels like one of those moments where there is zero compromise. You put it in, you've got the soundtracks, you've got the radio, you've got the free drive, you can do what you want. There's an engaging mission structure. It is kind of slightly complicated by the PSP's control inputs, I would say. It doesn't feel as maybe sublime as it would do on the PS2. There are going to be some frustration moments here for players. There is, and I hate to say it, but it's true. But compared to the predecessor Liberty City Stories, this game just ups the ante again for all the various reasons RGT talked about, and many more. The scale and breadth of the story feels bolder. The depths and sort of storytelling missions feel more interesting. I think Vice City lends itself more to this kind of play. I've always been a fan of Liberty City and the GTA 3 Continuum, the first 3D game because of nostalgia, probably. I don't carry as much nostalgia for Vice City, it just passed me by. But being able to drive the streets of Vice City on a PSP with all the graphical fidelity that goes with it, there is a slight cutback RGT. I hate to sort of pull you back
oh
on
there
that.
is.
I
Oh
mean,
there is.
you can get this game and its predecessor as full fat PS2 releases, but because it's then kind of not built for that system and it's a little bit compromised on its way in the door, um, it's garbage on PS2. So the PSP is really the definitive place to play it. So if you're thinking, oh no, no, I want to get this on PS2, like stop, hold up, think about it, because it doesn't work as well. So if you want to get the definitive Vice City Stories, Liberty City Story experience, you've really got to go grab yourself a PSP and experience it there in that moment. I mean, the first time I turned it on and you're driving down the road and on a motorbike, I think it was a crosser, and the music's there and you've got all the different radio stations to choose from and it's set in that iconic era as well. It's just a really rewarding, fun time. And I think
Mm.
it just captures that moment, that sort of hubris of the time, not only the time the game's set, but also the hubris of the time, the gaming industry when they were making these games. And again, the fact that this is crammed onto a UMD is literal genius from Sony's point of view in terms of marketing. It's literal coding genius by Rockstar, the ever-present geniuses, to get that running on there and make it look really concurrent with, the PS2 bigger brother. So yeah, lots of props. Again, these games are all ones that we think you should pick up and, within reason, budget allowing, go grab them now.
Mm. And I mean, this again. they done the trick where at the time for 6 months this was an exclusive to the PSP. So the only place you could play it was PSP. It didn't come out for another 6 months until the PS2 version again. So that
Brilliant.
was like, oh, do you love Vice City? There's Vice City Stories, but you need to buy one of these PSPs if you want to play it. It's
Mm.
that was their sort of marketing at the time. And yeah, you are right. You do. I have played both versions, PS2 and PSP, but PSP for me. And I will just say one more thing on the game. It was the first game I played on my PSP. I'd played other things like Motor Storms and various other games, which I would jump in and out of. This is the first game that I felt for a handheld game that immersed me. I got them little Sony earbuds in, popped it in, sat there playing it, and I was just in that world. I zoned out like I would on a console game on the big TV.
100% you
It
can get that
really
from this.
zoned, yeah, and it really zoned me into that whole world and
I
on a
think
tiny screen. Brilliant.
that's a really good idea, that, because if you get a good set of modern headphones wired, you plug
Hmm.
them in, you get that PSP, a game like this, and you lock in because of the soundtrack and the
Yeah,
ambient sounds and the sounds of the civilians. We've talked before about no compromise on things like the Switch, but this was really the open door of that no compromise that they probably
yeah.
didn't fully explore with the Vita, but on the PSP, the library is so big.
Mm,
And there's so many games where you can have that locked in experience. I
mm.
think let's use that as the term, where you can just lock in and do 2, 3, 4, 5 hour stints on a game and get that reward and not feel like you're playing Angry Birds on your mobile. There's always another
Exactly.
thing. There's always another story thread. There's always another collectible. There's always another vehicle you've not seen. There's always another job or mission or business to sort of operate or sort. I mean, yeah, absolutely RGT. Absolutely perfect choice.
I was, Vice City is one of my favorite games of all time. So when I got this and went on the PSP, I was like, oh, is this going to look like Vice City? Is it going to, be the same? Or you get back in, drive up the road, and you're like, no way, I'm back in Vice City. And,
Hmm.
the shops are all there and the people are there. Yes, if you put them side by side with the PS2 version, it is going to look less. But while you're playing it just on there, it's the same. It's the same city. It's the same vibe. It's the same people and the same it's really good. And
Well, because it's
just
a prequel, there's slightly different sort of buildings around and
yeah,
things are slightly different. So they've even done a
mm,
nod to their own chronology about things that either have happened or will happen in the other games, Liberty City Stories included, that kind of reframes it a little bit. And it feels you like you've got this exclusive little window into that universe. You just
yeah,
dipped in and it's yours. Very, very special. Very, very special set of games.
yep, brilliant. Yeah, so that's Vice City Stories, Grand Theft Auto for the PSP. So what's your third choice then, George?
Well, we're on a bit of a Rockstar bandwagon, but and we're talking about games with no compromise. Let me present to you another Rockstar legendary game. It's The Warriors on
Oof.
PSP. Now, this game defies my understanding. Now, I know everybody who listens to this and the main show, the Unofficial Controller podcast, know that I'm a little bit of a dum-dum. But when this game starts up with the Wonder Wheel swinging in the foreground on the menu, in the background, sorry, on the menu, and you get the intro movie and you see the character models and you walk around and it's literally the PS2 game on the PSP.
Mm,
Like I've found zero compromise between this and its bigger brother. And it just speaks to the strengths of them, taking a movie license, if we separate the PSP element for a moment. Rockstar could have gone and got any movie license they wanted, any. And they went and chose one from, I don't know, getting on damn near 50 years ago. I think this came out, what, 1979 originally, so like 47, 50 years ago. And The Warriors just, in itself, is an interesting movie for people to explore. It was one of those things that would be on like Videodrome on BBC Two at midnight in the 90s, like, oh, Warriors, like, Warriors. All the iconography from the film, the baseball furies and all those sort of guys. That's all in the game. But more importantly, that then found its way squeezed through the amazing Rockstar lemon squeezer to this sort of fine syrup juice that they poured into the PSP's UMD drive. And you are sat there, as RGT said earlier, good set of headphones. You're locked in on your PSP, no matter what version, and you are having a blast. You are having a full screen TV experience in your pocket. I can't rave about this enough. I don't want to labour the point because We just waxed lyrical for hours about Rockstar, and they're probably not everybody's favorite cup of tea right now. But, you know, I think that at this point in time, and even to this day, really, from a gameplay point of view and game development point of view, they can do no wrong. And the Warriors was really just that next step. In many ways, the Warriors on PS2, laid the foundations for games like Bully and beyond. But we're talking explicitly this PSP version. You're going to have a blast with this. Little bit of frustration with the spray paint mechanic and the PSP nubbin. Just take a breath.
Hmm.
Take a breath. You can get through this. You just might need some more paint cans. So there are some elements I feel where it is the full fat game, but maybe the control inputs hold you back just a little bit, But I can't get that nubbin working on an 8-bit. What have I got? What's that game pad you told me to get?
Oh, what the
Retro
uh
Defender or something.
Retro Fighters Defender, yeah.
Retro Fighters Defender. Yeah, even that with the new sticks that it's got in it, I'm still going over the lines on the bigger boys PS2. So I think it's probably down to user error, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, the nubbin definitely makes some of the mini games a little harder. But unscrewing the radios and you're swinging the nubbin round, like you would on the PS2 to get the screws out. It's all good, mate. And I'll be honest with you, it's absolutely rip-roaring time on either console. Can't say enough good stuff about it. Have you played it on PSP RGT or just PS2?
Yes, no, I've played on both. Never actually completed the game for some reason, but yes, played on both. You're correct. It was one of
Things
them.
get a bit crazy at the spray painting competition
Yes.
because it's all about the
Oh,
nubbin spinning.
God, does it? Yeah.
And yeah, when you got to beat guys up for paint and then some other guys are just spraying unmolested and you're having to fight people, grab tins, climb up and then not go out the lines. It's like, I didn't like this mechanic before, Rockstar. And now you're making me do it under stress
With a nubbin.
with a nubbin. You and I are going to fall out big time. They probably didn't put any more game behind that. They're just like, that's how we fit it on the PSP, by the way. We just made that insanely difficult. But no, you can progress through there. And
Yeah.
it's a great prequel to the movie as well, if people don't know.
It is as well, and like I say, it's one of them where if you had a friend, if you were playing a PS2 version and your friend had the PSP, and they'd say to you, "Oh, what are you playing? I'm playing the Warriors. What are you playing? Oh, I'm playing the Warriors." You aren't going to turn around and say, "Oh, you need to play the PS2 version. It's a better port." No, there isn't. You're playing the same game. You
Mm.
are playing the same game. And also, I remember when this came out, me and my friends were all over Rockstar at the time for, Grand Theft Autos and bits and pieces. They were the company we really enjoyed. And then they come out with this game, Warriors. I thought, what the hell is the Warriors? Well, they lost the plot. And then I found out it was a film from the 70s. I was like, why are they making a game? The film, I thought, oh, they're done. They've ruined themselves. They're done. Then you play the game and you think, no, that's brilliant. That's almost like they had that engine, that brilliant engine they'd used for Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas, and then I had a version of it for PSP, and they were obviously looking what film would fit well in this engine. Well, a fighting sort of film would work well in with this, and the two came together, and you get the Warriors of a film that no one had really heard of, but now everyone has. It's
It must
fantastic
have
on the
sold
PSP.
gangbuster DVDs off the back of this game coming out, more than
Exactly,
they'd
yeah.
ever sold before and since.
And I bet they got the license for dirt cheap because it was an old film that no one had even spoke about for years. Probably a bit of a cult film, but I reckon that the license was pretty cheap. And yeah, I would imagine the people who owned the rights to that movie probably were over the moon when that game went
I'll,
live.
I'll be honest with you though, they've paid full respect not only to the movie's um, visual style,
Hmm.
but they've paid full respect by getting the actors from the original movie back to
Yeah,
retread their parts.
yeah.
So yeah, I've always enjoyed it. Like I say, it's a prequel to the movie itself. It's a good lore builder for the Warriors universe and the gangs that inhabit it. Some of the characters you get to know and speak to in more deeper ways within the games. I think just it's one of those games, these movie licenses that came on and actually elevated the film more than the game elevated the movie elevated the game,
Mm.
which is rare, if not impossible, for a movie license in history. So, congratulations, Rockstar, you smashed it. What's next on the docket for you, RGT?
My next one is another game which I thought. I don't think there's a lot of a compromise with this, and that is Tony Hawk's Underground 2 Remix.
Mm.
I call it Remix. It's basically, again, it's the PS2 Tony Hawk's Underground 2 game with added things on. So it's almost probably the version to play. Um, I loved the Tony Hawk's games. I think we all did from Pro Skater 1, 2, 3, and I went on to 4 and bits and pieces. But that era of 1 and 2, and especially 3, was really good. Now, some people didn't like the Underground series. I always thought that that arcade skate style of 1, 2, and 3, that wouldn't that be good if you had a story to it? If you almost had like a skateboard RPG. Um, and they done it with Underground. I loved Underground. I played hours on that. From It's that rag to riches story. The skateboarders come in town, hold a little local competition. You live in a rough area, you win the competition, and you end up going on tour, and you've got a friend who's not a friend. And spoilers for an old game, Eric Sparrow. Hate you, Eric. And then and then they done Underground 2, which is more of if I remember right, I think it's like Bam Majere and that pull up in a van and grab you, and you go off on this tour. And it's great fun. Again, it plays so well on a PSP. It's you don't. It is literally a straight port from the PS2 version. Again, with those added bits and pieces put in. I think the only thing you had missing was like Crater Park, I think, was missing off it. But this came out in 2005. And it is just a great game. It shows what the PSP can do. Skateboarding's quite fast. You're pulling off tricks, but I never noticed too much trouble with the frame rate. I just think it's a brilliant game. And again, if you had a friend who's playing Underground 2 on his PS2, you're not playing an inferior port. If anything, you're playing a better port. It's amazing how they got it on there. I can only imagine that the PSP was quite friendly to devs for getting these games on, because so many different studios managed it. And like I say, Activision published it, and Neversoft again got it on there, running so well. Um, and I just think it's a great game. Again, it's that we've got different games here. We've got from RPGs to racing games, and again, this is that more sort of extreme sports skateboarding. But Tony Hawk's on the go on a PSP really works, and I'll definitely give it a go. I mean, it got Metacritic, it got 83 out of 100, and I think mostly that was 80s, 85s out of 100, so quite a rated game. I know it sold really well as well, and I'll definitely give it a look. I think it had as well multiplayer added in as well again, so they really utilized that ad hoc mode. Have you played this on PSP, George?
Can't say I have. I mean, my experience with Tony Hawk's kind of peaked at I had one of them on the Dreamcast back in the day, which I really enjoyed. It was a pirate copy for anyone who wants to give me some abuse about that. I know I'm not a big fan of those, but just towards the end of my relationship with the Dreamcast, someone just lobbed like a burnt CD at me, and it was like, "What's this?" And I took it home and thought, well, "This ain't going to work." Stuck it in my Dreamcast. I was like, "Bloody hell, it doesn't. It looks amazing as
Mm.
well." So I had a soft spot for Tony Hawk's as a result of that. Later on, I had a PS1 with a screen on it, and the PlayStation versions obviously didn't compare to the Dreamcast, but a lot like you, RGT had a lot of fun with 3. Your TNT, your Dynamite, with the intro song from AC/DC, it always stick in my
Mm.
mind. I played the wheels off of that. But no, I've never. I think maybe my son might have picked up one of the Undergrounds one day for the PS2 when we're having a bit of a retro day. I might have it kicking around, but and sort of that talk of it being an RPG rings a bell to me, sort of looking up and seeing him playing it. I think he had a good time with it, but I've never had anything to do with this on PSP. But I'd imagine, again, we've talked about these sort of no compromise ports of the era, or very slight compromise ports of the era, or maybe exploring a different take on the universe to allow them to get away with it. Uh, I should imagine this is great, and it lines up pretty well next to your Jackass selection at the front. So yeah, full
Yeah,
power to you.
yeah, and I think they done their sort of sales pitch, whereas it's primarily the game of PS2, but the progression is slightly different. So you play the same game, but what they've added in is 4 exclusive levels, and a few new characters and different cutscenes. So if you've
Mm,
played the PS2 Underground, that's not, and you've got a PSP. That's not you thinking, oh, it's no point me getting it. I've already played this on the PS2. That's worth you getting it because you get all these different. Oh, it's a different route through. It's different scenes, different characters. Um, so that's a clever way of doing it to sell you
yeah,
technically the same game twice. But I'd definitely pick it up, especially if you liked Tony Hawk's and you're new to PSP. You're not missing out on anything by having it on a handheld. It's a great
no,
little game. What's
good
your
choice.
number four then, George?
Number four, it's a game that made its way over from the PlayStation 3. It's Little Big Planet PSP, or just known as Little Big Planet. Again, the first time I put this in, obviously the PSP wasn't new, probably about 10 plus years ago when I played this, but it's one of those moments where Little Big Planet has always had really nice ways to bring you into the game where you're walking along and the credits pop up in front of you and you're getting a voiceover and you're learning how to do the grab mechanics so you can like influence the physics and swing and do different bits. And it was during my load up of this that I was like, hang on a minute, you know, this feels really this feels really special. This actually feels like they've managed to get a PS3 game running on here. Now, yeah, zoom it in. There's some compromises gone on, but it's one of those moments that just reeks of class. For me, Little Big Planet, and we've talked about this on various shows, but Little Big Planet with the stickers and the vibe and the look and the artwork and Sackboy himself, it's always felt quite special,
Hmm.
quite, only Sony could do this. This was like their Astrobot of the time. I do feel sorry for sort of Sackboy now with Astrobot taking all the glory. Sackboy was dressing up as different PlayStation characters 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So for them to sort of rock up with Astrobot and everyone suddenly be a revisionist, like, oh, look at this, it's great to see a little Astrobot Aloy, and it's great to see a little Astrobot Sackboy. Like, hang on a minute, what about poor old Sackboy?
Mm.
But as I say, you start playing this on there. From the minute you hear the music to the minute you hear the voiceover, you're immediately sort of just swept away with this absolutely fantastic platforming experience that's challenging, that rewards creativity, that's just damn fun to play, and really is halfway along the kind of smoke and mirrors of making you believe you've got something more than a PS1 or 2 in your pocket or 1.5 in your pocket. You felt like you had a PS3 in your pocket. And Sackboy is just a wonderful experience from the box art inside to the artwork on the UMD to the God forbid that when they did manuals RGT. It's just such a colourful, fun, innovative little game that I can't speak highly enough of. Obviously, we got a revisit of Sackboy on the Vita, but for me personally, this is the one. When I did my reshell that RGT did in his kind of preamble at the beginning, the very first game I put in to try was this.
Mm.
I wanted to see what it looked like through a non-scratch screen. I wanted to see what it looked like, in a reshell, held together nice, looking sexy. Let's give it the almost official christening of
Mm.
what a PSP should receive. And to me, that's this game. If you're in an R and you're on the fence, or you've just picked one of these up, or you've grabbed an emulator, or whatever it is you're doing, you've really got to try this out. You're going to have a great time. Obviously, you played Sackboy in other locations, RGT, but have you ever played it on PSP?
Yeah, I've played briefly on the PSP. I have the PSP version. It's another one of them games, like you say, Sony with Little Big Planet. The devs just made this their own world. You hear the music, and when you hear Stephen Fry and the
Mm,
introduction, there's something about that where it's almost like feels like a very well done children's TV show. It
yeah,
draws you in, and
it does.
I think we do miss Little Big Planet. I know we got the sort of PS5 version and bits and pieces, but
Nobody does photorealistic corrugated card quite as well
no,
as these boys.
they do. And again, it's one of those games where whether you're playing the PS5, PS3, Vita, or even this PSP version, it will always look really good, play stunning, sound great on whatever system you're playing on. And again, this PSP port, when you look at it, you think, I don't know if this should look this good on here.
That's what I'm
This
saying. It's
this
literal devil
really,
work, isn't it? It's
yeah,
witchcraft.
I would, you could fire that up on a Vita and wouldn't be disappointed. You just
No,
think
you would not, 100%.
it looks really good, plays really well. Again, I love the sounds and the effects they do in these games. Stick a set of earbuds in or a set of headphones and play this game because it really absorbs you in that world. And
You're locked in with this.
yeah, it's so good. And it was so unique. It's a shame we don't get these sorts of games now. We've gone so generic with our titles, and this was a time where when you had a handheld, you weren't missing out. They were releasing these big games on the handhelds, and this was just one of them. Yeah, that's a great choice. Little Big Planet. Even if you're not really into platformers or 3D platformers, I think Little Big Planet is unique enough for you to give it a go because it is its own thing. Um, yeah, great choice. That absolutely brilliant game. Um, my number four, again, I've gone
Mm.
a bit left field with this. This is a game I played from start to finish, absolutely loved it. Funnily enough, released by Konami, but no one ever talks about this game. That is Puzzle Chronicles.
Mm.
Now, this game came out, I think you could get it digitally on like 360 PS3 PC, but predominantly this was a DS and a PSP port. I don't think there's a lot of difference between the two ports. I think they are as. Um, I bought this game because one, it was dirt cheap, and two, from reading the back, it doesn't give you a lot on the back, but the back is basically begin an heroic puzzle RPG adventure. And I thought, oh, that's weird. So it's almost like looks like columns, a bit more of a sophisticated columns game on half the screen, and the top half of the screen is your character and whoever you're fighting. So you puzzle off, but when you're not in fighting mode, you're in a isometric sort of cell shaded map, open world map, but you can go around and do different things. But whenever you come into combat, you do it for a puzzle. You can upgrade your characters and do bits and pieces. And this, for me, was such a great game to have on the go because you feel like you're playing an RPG, but you're getting that little hit. You're getting that little dopamine hit of puzzle games, where you're having a
Yeah,
quick
that's
go.
nice.
Um, and it's great for just pulling out, like you say, on the bus going to work, get a couple more battles done, win them battles, move on to the next area, go and investigate this area. Um, and I know when you look at the front of it, it looks like a mobile phone game. I mean,
It looks
it,
worse than that. It looks like a
it,
50p spinner PC game that you'd find in like Morrison's in like
exactly.
2003.
Yeah, and even on the back, there's so limited information on the back. 3 screenshots and 3 lines. It just says explore the wilds of Assyrian Empire. Challenge 5 challenging mini games, battle fierce monsters in fast-paced puzzle combat. That's all it says. But actually, when you get into it, it's a great, fun little RPG. And
Mm.
I think people just dismiss this game because it does look like shovelware. And the only thing that made me buy it because it wasn't shovelware is because Konami done it. So I thought, well, there must be something in it if Konami are releasing this. Um, and I loved it. I played it right through and completed the game. Not
Mm.
very long. You'll probably do it in 6 or 7 hours. But if I think this is the sort of game where if you're traveling on a trip or you're going on holiday and you need something to take the time up while you're traveling, this is a great little game to get stuck into. Have you ever played this, George? Puzzle Chronicles?
Never seen it before, RGT, so a great selection, a great choice. It's nice to have some variety. I mean, I've rocked up with basically Sony's greatest hits for PSP, but it's nice to inject that in. I mean, we've done the PSP in these PlayStation exclusive episodes that we did. I think we've
Mm.
probably covered a couple of these, so I don't want to overtalk them. So to see another fighter has entered the arena is always good. And yeah, I'll probably look that one out myself as long as we get to the end and it's not ridiculous monies, but you never know.
It's that I think it's got that very basic RPG element where you feel like you're exploring and doing levels and getting better, but you're also getting that little hit of a puzzle game,
Hmm.
which also is a fight, and it all works so well. I think it's a great little game. So
No,
I'll
fair
definitely
play.
give it. I think it was mixed reviews when it came out. Sort of, I think Metacritic was like 65 out of 100. Most people were like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, and it went under the radar a lot. I think it was a time when I think the initial release date was like 2010. So it's obviously quite a late game in the PSP cycle. So probably a lot of people slept on it. It probably sat on the shelves, and like you say, with this cover and side bit looking like a bit of shovelware, I think a lot of people probably missed it. And like I say, there's even a DS version as well, which is, as far as I can make out, is pretty similar to the PSP. But I'd definitely give it a look. That is by Konami, and that is Puzzle Chronicles. What's your fifth and final game then, George?
My fifth and final game is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
Oh,
Um,
what a lovely cover that
now,
is.
oh, it's beautiful. I have got another version of this. Again, the PSP did bring out some, I don't think they're even special editions, but they brought them out with like a card slip.
Mm,
So I've got this with a card slip as well, maybe a little art book alongside it, which is what justified the card to hold it all together. But even the vanilla version of this with the silver background with the characters on the front of it, Mickey, it's slightly different characters to the main game. You play as three alternate characters. I forget their name now. It's been a hot minute since I played it, but I really love this. I mean, me and my daughter were playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts on PS2. We played the first and second game and really thoroughly enjoyed them. But this one will live with me for nostalgia. I used to take my kids swimming to a local swimming baths, as the adults would call it, not swimming pool, to swimming baths. And I would sit and I'd take a Vita or the PSP with me, and I'd just sit and watch them while having a bit of a play. And I started playing this on PSP, so I took it with me. And while I was watching the kids swim, I think some young kid who couldn't swim, the mums were talking, you know how they are, and talking about how bad the husband is and blah, blah, blah. And this kid was kind of wandering around, and he sort of walked past and saw the Disney characters, whatever it was, and he kind of stopped and came back. And the next minute, he was like sat next to me on this bench. Then, like, I don't know, 2 minutes later, I passed him a headphone, and he would sit there and watch, and I would play. And then next week, I would sit down, he'd be straight over, and I'd be like, one day I took both the Vita and the PSP, and I pulled it out, I was going to play Drake's, and he was sat there, and I was like, yeah, I don't really want to get in trouble with his mum for playing an MDK game in front of him. So we'll pull out and his little face lit up as soon as it started up, and you saw
bless
the
him.
logo and all the little characters running around. And yeah, I think it's you could argue it's pivotal to the very bizarre and very hard to understand Kingdom Hearts storyline. Some of the things that take place in this game certainly have a big impinging factor on what happens later. But you take all that away and you view it in isolation. There's a lot of the Disney princesses in it at the start that kind of makes the grown man feel a little bit silly. But ultimately, underneath all that, you've got your standard Kingdom Hearts gameplay. You've got some really nice sort of Disney lore in there. You've got the wonderful Kingdom Hearts and ever expanding story of that. Can be a little bit hard to follow, like story wise, but whoever really plays Kingdom Hearts for the stories, you play it to kind of get to the section where you're doing an adventure with your cartoon sort of comic book idol from the Disney universe. And yeah, to me, this is like I say, a quite nostalgic game in that regard. It's included on some of the later reissues, the PS3 pack, and I think what later came on PS4 and Xbox of the later packed in sort of Kingdom Hearts trilogies, like 2.5D, I think, or something like that. You'll find Birth by Sleep on there. But if you've got a PSP and you're looking for another one of those full fat experiences, and you're a big fan of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, you you need this so much. And we've talked before about A, the console experience in your pocket, B, the super large library of games on PSP. And this is just one of those games that I think maybe, I don't know, it probably didn't go unnoticed at the time, it being exclusive. It probably shifted some systems, but not really talked about in the zeitgeist, probably because it's been rolled into later packages. But for me, the true place to play this is on PSP.
Mm.
It's where it was designed to be. It kind of it is a cut down version in terms of it respects your time for the need if you want to stick it on standby, put it in your pocket and get on the bus, pull it out of your pocket, carry on. It's a slightly more flexible version of Kingdom Hearts that lets you do that. And if you've got like a younger person in your life, a kid or a cousin or a brother or whatever that you spend time with, this is some really wholesome fun. Graphically and sound wise, I mean, I can't tell the difference. Again, I guess if you got them running side by side on the screen, you'd be like, oh, well, it's not quite all that in the bins. Get a grip of yourself. This is a wonderful game, and I think you can have a great experience. It looks good on no matter what PSP version you play it on. I mean, for me, it'll always be the 1000, but I know obviously in the later versions they kind of cut the OS around to make it so it was slightly more powerful regardless. So yeah, grab yourself a copy of that and have yourself an absolute rip-roaring time. Great one to take on a flight, great one to take on a sunshine holiday. Just enjoy yourself. Have you played this or are you a Kingdom Hearts fan, RGT, or no?
No, I've got a few of the games. I think I might have all the games, I believe, but I've never played them basically because I'm one of them that if there's a series of games, I like to start at the beginning and work my way through. But I've always been so confused into what order to play them in. And whenever I've Googled, everyone says a different order, and I get so muddled up as to what to play. But they've always
Just play him. I
fascinated
would
me.
say to that answer, I would just say just play him in the release order because you can't do wrong at that, can you? I know
Exactly,
some
yeah.
people that have played them all are probably screaming, "Oh, you got to play that one first because it's kind of like a prequel." Forget that, mate. I'm going to start with one. I'm going to play two. Then I'm probably going to play Birth by Sleep and those other Rechained Melody ones that you get on the
Mm,
whatever it is, or I find them on the package for the PS4 or Xbox or whatever it is. But just play how you feel. But
mm.
following the numbers is not a bad move, is it? It can't be.
And I always find it fascinating when I first heard that, Square Enix with Disney and, you got Cloud, but you also got Disney characters. I've always thought that sounds really odd, but then they're so well rated. Everyone seems to love Kingdom Hearts. It just seems to
Oh,
be something
yeah.
that's really worked. And it's a series I do need to play. It's on my list. I mean, as the future of gaming's going as it is, I think I'll be diving quite a lot into these previous
To your
systems.
point of the Final Fantasy characters, they're there, but they're not obtuse. They don't. I sometimes wonder why are they there?
Mm,
Because no one's playing it for that. Majoritively, you're playing it more for the Disney characters. But
Because that's is it
again,
action RPG in it? Is it action
it is an
RPG?
action
Yeah.
RPG. I would say some of the younger players, when my daughter played it, she just tore into it, and you try and get through the game without thinking of it. But when you get into the menus, not only on Birth by Sleep, but one and two, the keyblades are really important. Your bolt-ons are important. Your kind of healing spells and who you give them to in your team is important. So it feels very simple, like whack, whack, whack. But when you start getting later in the game, you face some of the bigger bads or the bosses. It's not whack, whack, whack. It's very, very tactical. You've got to be some of the sweatiest moments I've ever had are progressing my daughter through the story of Kingdom Hearts because you've got the pressure on. You've also got maybe an underpowered Keyblade. You don't quite know what's happening. But to be honest with you, really fun to play. The action RPG element of it probably is that makes it a little bit more easy to play compared to maybe the traditional route of a JRPG turn-based battler that they could have gone down. But no, can't speak highly enough about this game and maybe the series and Guilty Secret. As much as I've enjoyed one, two, and Birth by Sleep, I still haven't dusted off and played three. I would quite like to, but I've got some sort of unfinished business with two, and maybe 2.5, and then Chain Melodies, where me and my daughter kind of stopped. And out of respect, I've not really pushed it further, but I would love to because I've really enjoyed every time I've spent in the Kingdom Hearts universe. It's
Mm.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely unique and there's plenty of games to play there. And again, PSP, Square Enix knew how to get the PSP working. So it's,
Correct.
again, it's got its own special game from that series.
Because of that cell shaded almost animation style as well, you get away with so many sins where it feels like, again, this has been the theme of the show, another sort of no compromise version of your favorite game.
Mm, yeah, definitely. And I always felt, again, this is another one of those games that made you feel that if your TV broke or you had your consoles taken away and you only had a PSP left, you're not necessarily missing out.
No.
If you had these as your library, I think you're doing all right gaming wise. You're not playing, you know, little phone games sitting on your couch. You are playing big adventures and RPGs, and Kingdom Hearts, proves that. But yeah, Great choice there for your final one, George.
What you
My
got here then?
my number five, I've gone for just pure arcade action, bit of vehicular combat, a bit of third person shooter. I've gone with Pursuit Force.
Oh, Metal Jesus just turned up. Look at you.
Uh, Metal Militia. Um, Yeah, Pursuit Force. If you haven't heard of this game, I mean, there is a story. You don't really need to know about the story. It's basically you're a copper. I think it's set in the future. There's like five gangs that rule a city,
It's
and
kind of
this,
got to be set in the future on it, to be
yeah,
fair. It's crazy.
it is a crazy game, but it's great fun. It's made quite well for what it is. It looks pretty good on the PSP. And it's like I say, it's a combination of a lot of third person shooter and then a lot of vehicular combat. And you can stand on your car and shoot the other cars, and then go from car to take these cars down, take the gang members down. I think it's about 30 missions on this game. And you can even seize motorbikes and bits as well, and these big chasers take these gangs down on the highways. And it's just good destructive fun. It's a game which is exclusive for the PSP. They done a follow-up one, a second one as well, which I think was called Extreme Justice, I believe. um
Yeah, I think you might be right. Pursuit Force 2, it did have a sub moniker, yeah.
yeah, and it came out in 2005, November 2005. And I think the second one came out 2007. um I think you can play this as part of the classic catalogs on PS4 and PS5, but for me, it's a PSP game. On that small screen, how quick the action is, how things are going on, and all these guns and that. It's just, again, it's just great destructive fun. And again, it just show the wide variety of games you could have on a PSP. We were just talking about Kingdom Hearts, an action JRPG with Disney and Square Enix characters. We're now talking about an arcade game where you jump from car to car and shooting the bad guys.
I was
It's
going to say machine gun people at point blank range in the face.
yeah, and who doesn't like doing that? So um, but yeah, I mean, when it came out, it had mixed reviews. Again, I think this is a bit like Jackass. People have recognized now that actually this is quite a good game for a system, exclusive to the system. I mean, there was 8 out of 10s, 3 out of 5s, 80%. There was other 6 out of 10s. There was even a 4 out of 10 by Electronic Gamer Monthly only gave it 4 out of 10. But your Metacritic scores like 75 out of 100. I think over the years, as people have bought it and played it, going back, it's becoming that sort of bit more of a collector's game for the system. Have you played this, George? I expect you played this, haven't you? Pursuit Force.
Yeah, like on and off. Like I've
Yeah,
not really spent a load of time on it, but it screams that portable play. It's very quick play sessions. I suppose it's easy to that classic saying, it's easy to play, it's hard to master. It's that definite arcade style of like, you got to have your wits about you. Initially it feels like quite a sort of heady, almost intense situation of a game. But then once you kind of work out what you're doing, you can feel quite cool and
yeah.
slick with the way that you play it, the transfer of yourself and the way you take the bads down. There's a lot to be said about this. It's been on a million hidden gem videos for PSPs from the dawn of time, but a very, very welcome addition. We've not talked about it on the show before in one of our top tens, I don't think. So
No, I think we've talked about Pursuit Force, but not in a lot of top 10 or anything like that. I
no,
mean, if you're not clear with the game, this is how I described it to a friend years ago when he asked me what I was playing, looking over my shoulder on a holiday, and I said it was like if Ridge Racer and GTA had a baby. It's got that
that is
almost
true.
over the top car racing with the combat as well, and it is just, like I say, it's just that arcade good fun. It almost plays like an arcade game. You can always imagine playing this in an arcade. It's like taking Spy Hunter to the next level. But definitely give it a go. It is just great fun. If you're just looking for something you ain't got to think too much about, chuck in, have a good blast every, half an hour here and there. Have a look at Pursuit Force. And that is our 10 games. I will run back over them. My five games was Jackass, GTA Vice City Stories, Tony Hawk's Underground Remix, Puzzle Chronicles, and Pursuit Force. George's games were uh, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Gran Turismo, The Warriors, Little Big Planet, Kingdom Hearts, Birth by Sleep. Now we get to the bit everyone waits for at the end, George.
Mm.
The cost, the
I,
prices, your little
I,
guessing game. Let's have a look here.
I'm nervous of this. So
Have you any
tell
idea
me,
on any of these or?
no clue. I kind of maybe I'm not a full series collector, don't get me wrong, but I have got quite an extensive PSP collection just because I love it. And there's so many bangers on there. I always try and curate the collection to make sure it's not crazy. And I finished my collection when these were 50p to a pound. So I'm a
Hmm.
little bit nervous that I'm about to walk
Yeah.
into this with an absolute car crash. But, it's all part of the fun. So play along at home. Don't use the internet to cheat. You're not RGT. Come bring your knowledge and your guts and your balls. RGT.
Yeah. Hmm. Don't know how I got dragged in that. Anyway, we'll start off with your first pick, and that is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. What are you reckoning, George?
Um, Something tells me you're probably going to be paying a good.
I will just
Like,
say these prices are based off CEX, and the reason I use CEX is one, it's the on, it's the shop high street store, and two, they tend to be cheaper than eBay. eBay tends to be a lot more expensive, so I always use CEX. So if you
let's
wonder
go
where I get it
12.
to,
Let's go 12 quid on Peace Walker.
oof, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, no, Peace Walker retails in CEX for £35. Yeah.
Wow.
Like I say, there's been quite an increase over the last few weeks because of obvious news stories that we won't talk about in here. Yes, so Peace Walker, £35 if you want to buy that in
I
CX.
would love to see a price tracker. Was that £12 before this explosion? It's ramped up to that price in that time, or that just seems insane.
Yeah, there's some prices here which have jumped very recently. Very recently. Um,
Wow. Okay. Next.
Next is Jackass
On PSP.
PSP.
£8.
Not far off, £6 for Jackass. Now, the
Okay.
reason I've brought this in here because that was a 50p PS2 game for the longest time. It is now £22 on PS2,
Yeah.
which is crazy for that game that people didn't like, but now everyone wants. So, yes, get the PSP version because it is actually a better version. So, Jackass, £6. Right. Your second game, George, was Gran Turismo.
It was. Yeah. Okay. So let's say that's. Oh, let's say that's £12.
Not far off, £10 if you want to pick that up. Very
Perfect.
reasonable. That's a great game. For £10, that's a bargain, that game. Absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant game.
Like I say,
Um,
I think I paid four and felt like it was a lot.
Yeah, I think I was around about a fiver for that. I think I can't really
Mm,
remember, but
okay.
um, yes. So next up, we had my second pick, which was Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories.
I don't want to go overboard on this, only because I know that it's probably one of the most prolific titles on the system.
Mm,
Like it's everywhere. So I'm gonna lowball it. I'm gonna say 8 quid.
£15.
Jesus.
Um, and the Vice City Stories on PS2 is now £25. Which again, that was a £4 or £5 game for the longest time. I even like Liberty City Stories. I remember telling you this story, George. I've got a sealed copy of that, which I picked up in CEX years ago because they had a whole row of sealed ones. I don't know where they got them from, and I think
Hmm.
I paid like £3 for it. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's probably 100 quid now. It's ridiculous, but yeah. So £15 on a PSP. Your
This
third
will go
game,
down as an absolute crushing defeat for me this week, unfortunately. So what's next? Warriors?
yes, your third game is The Warriors by Rockstar on the PSP. What are you thinking?
15.
That's a £30 game now in CS. Yeah. I remember seeing it at 15 for the longest time, thinking that's quite expensive for that.
I
I
didn't
think,
think it could pass that threshold. I just
mm,
didn't think it possible.
yeah, yeah, it's they're shooting up at the moment. Yeah, so £30 for the Warriors. My third choice was Tony Hawk's Underground remix for the
Mm,
PSP.
I feel that might maybe slip under the radar a little bit on PSP, so I think that might be £8.
This surprised me. This is £15 now. I
Make
actually
it make sense to me.
I actually took the label off this while I was doing these. I'd left the label on from CX when I got it, and that was £3 a label on it. And I bought, yeah, it's gone up to 15. Yeah, I could not believe it. But that was my third game, Tony
Wow.
Hawk's Underground Remix. Your
Okay.
fourth game, George, was Little Big Planet for the PSP.
Oh, again, you used to see this everywhere, like really dog-eared copies, one that had been kicked down the road. It took me a few copies to get one that's as nice as this, so I'm gonna say £10.
£6 for Little Big Planet.
Oh,
£6.
sake. You can't make logic of it, can you?
No,
Okay.
no, and for £6, that's nothing. That's the price of a pint of beer nowadays. And you got
Great game.
one of the best games on the PSP. So, um, yes. Then my fourth game was Puzzle Chronicles on the PSP.
Oh, this is either going to want to go, this is going to go one of two ways. And I'm going to chance my arm because I'm all out of luck right now and say this is a £4 game.
If you order it now on CEX, on the DS, it's £5. On the PSP, it's £1.50.
I thought as much, yeah. It's a
It's a
shame.
it's a £1.50 game. So I mean, give it a
They're
go for
still
one.
out there.
They're still out there. Give it a go because I think it's a great little game for £1.50. I mean, if you bought a mobile game, which is like a puzzle game like that, these puzzle RPGs are all popular, you'd pay more for that on your mobile.
You would,
So
you would
yeah.
as a download, you definitely would.
Your fifth and final game was Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
I don't know where to be on this, but that that can't be any less than 15.
You are bang on. It's £15, but
Redemption.
they did do a special edition with the cardboard slip and bits and pieces,
Oh,
which now retails for £32.
Mumsy,
Get the credit
we're
card.
going to the Chinese restaurant tonight, darling.
And my final game was Pursuit Force for the PSP.
Again, I think the aforementioned Iron Jesus has probably had an upward effect of this, so I'm gonna chance my arm and say, although this is everywhere, so it has no right to be any more, I'm gonna say maximum 12 quid, $12, $12.
£2. This is a £2. Make sense of it.
That just shows you how much people listen to Metal Jesus.
Yeah. Yep, that's a £2 game. So yes, there is some which have shot up in price there at the moment. It is just the market. Whether they stay there or keep going up, I don't know. It's a very unstable
Yeah, I
place
think
with
this is one of those
PlayStation at the moment.
moments where if you wanted to cash out on PSP, this is probably the highest watermark it'll ever see. If you're a collector for the sake of it, grab the games that you want or keep your powder dry. But then equally so, who's to say that this isn't the beginning of the retro rise? Because although PSP might feel new and recent and relevant to a few of us who have been around on planet Earth a little while, there's someone joining the hobby tomorrow. Um, this is a retro device.
Yeah, it is. And also, I know you when you look at games like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, you're thinking £35. What for an old PSP game? I know, but you're you're not paying it because it's an old PSP game. You're paying it because it's a very good game. You're getting a full blown experience. You've got hours of gameplay and fun to have. Don't think of it as an old PSP game. Think it was £35, which is half the price of a new release game that comes out nowadays.
True.
You're getting a great game, which is getting collectible, and you're having fun at the same time. Plus, on the other hand of it, don't be put off by the 35s because there's still games that are £2, £1.50, £6 that were shown on here, which are so worth buying.
You've also got the option of getting an empty Pringles can, washing it out, and just going to get these UMD only. Because
Mm.
if it's going to be, a lot of lads are picking these up now. Like for it's not lux maxing, but it's like LARPing or LARP maxing, where you kind of emulate a scene of an era. So you walk around with your PSP, you have your little strap on it, you have it in your
Mm.
pocket for the look, But then you could have, I mean, I've got a myriad while I've been collecting. I've picked up loads of little like 4 stack UMD carrying cases, official ones, little zip up ones that you can slap a couple of movies
Yeah,
in,
that's
a
what I've
couple of
got.
these
Yeah.
in, have it on a little carabiner on your pocket, on your belt loop, like a true 2000s emo kid. I think, you know, if you're getting it for playing sake, get rough and ready. Get your PSP, throw it in your pocket with a couple of UMDs in the bottom of your coat pocket or in one of those carriers, and throw them in a bag on a plane or whatnot. And it's kind of that, in a way, it's that low cost way of taking a little bit of gaming on the go.
Mm.
And you're not buying PSPs, me and RGT are probably the outsider. You're not normally buying PSP games to like stack your collection up. Although, much like the Switch with their smaller form factor, you can get quite a few on a shelf. But once you sort of coax the UMD out of the case, they are small and small for a reason. So just throw a few in a Pringles case and off you
Yeah.
go on holiday. Job done. And I'd imagine without boxes, a lot of these prices tumble big time.
Yeah, I mean, I bought back in the day when I was really collecting, when I was building my collection up. Um, there's a guy who had a couple of them little handheld cases with like 5 in at a time. He had,
Mm,
I think, no, he actually had 3 of them. There was 15 games, just loose UMDs. I gave him not a tenner for all 3. I went
boom.
through. There was Pursuit Force in there. There was Tiger Woods. There was other games all in there, and then the ones I really liked, I got the complete editions for. The ones I really liked. The others I just
That's a
have.
good way of
I
doing
just
it.
and the others I just have a little case on the shelf with all these spare ones in that are all right games, but probably I'm not going to go out and get the CIB version of them.
No.
But you can pick them up if you keep an eye on Vinted and places like that. There's people always selling loose UMDs. You can pick up a little, just chance your arm sometimes. Maybe
Mm.
spend 25 quid on 15 UMD games and see what you get. So you don't know. That's
And
worth a shout.
yeah, I think PSP is probably having a renaissance, or it's had a renaissance, or it's in the middle of its renaissance in terms of that LARPing scene, as in not that you're going around a wood dressed as an elf, but more that you're emulating a look or a
Mm,
style or a character per se out in the wild. But beyond that, I think they're getting a little bit of appreciation because it's a great way to get a retro console and a slew of games that doesn't take up any space at home, that
mm,
you can take with you anywhere that you want to. You can mod it if you want to, so you can put an absolutely ginormous SD card in with an adapter if you want to, and you can have some games downloaded, or rather than that, you can have your games loose and a load of music downloaded, and then you use your UMD movies to literally live like a king in 2026 as time of recording, and have a great. A listener sent me a PSP that is my daily driver, for want of a better word, and it's got this really great case on it. Tingle Tuner, if you're listening, I love you. A little fold out sort of leg on the back of it, that a desk stand
I
that you
know the
can
one.
pop
Yeah.
down. So if you're camping or something like that, you can pop it between your pillows or balance it on your chest. You can watch a full movie, and then when that's done, you just flick that thing up, pop a game in, and you're away. And I think more than anything now, I think the PSP's probably only now seeing the strength of what it. I'm obviously at the time when the lads were playing it ad hoc and they had it brand new, that was the time. But this second renaissance, this sort of second wind it's having as a retro console, I think shining more light onto it now than it ever had back in the day. So I
Mm.
think with these ever rising prices, RGT, now would be the time to get like a beta console or get one of those modded ones off the net. Go look these games out, and just have the time of your life.
Yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of accessories you can buy. I've got a grip for mine that makes it look like a big PS3 controller, very
Mm,
comfortable to play. I also used to always take the mickey out of me because I had my uh the UMD movie player holder where it was like looked like a walking stick with a sucker on the end. You put the PSP in, you put it on the on the car side window. You got your PSP in front of your face. You sit there and watch your movies. Plug your headphones in. I've done that many a times traveling. It was brilliant. If you're on a bus, pop it on the window on a train, stick it on, and you can watch your movies. Ain't even got to hold it. There's brilliant little accessories you can get for it. And like you say, if you don't want to get right into it with the CIBs, bits and pieces, you can get modded ones. They're everywhere now. There's companies that are selling these really nice, modified PSPs
My
brought up to
son's
the
just
modern
grabbed
day.
one.
Is
Yeah.
he really?
Yeah, and I said to him, "Oh, crikey, mate, have they ripped the UMD out?" Like, no, they've put a new screen in it, they've modded it, or they've hacked it, so it comes loaded with the full library, and he's still got the UMD on the back. I was like, "Mate, that's banging for you. You'll be able to
Yeah.
take that anywhere, watch your movies. You can start collecting UMD movies like your dad." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, oh, this is awesome."
Bless his heart. Yeah,
So it's on
brilliant.
its way over, and I think a translucent red. He sent me the
Oh,
link. I think come payday, I'll be grabbing myself another PSP. Seems a bit ridiculous, but why not?
I'm very tempted because it's just that, it's brought up to spec and a good way of traveling. And it feels a bit more personal when you've had it modded like that and picked your color and bits and pieces you've done. And there's a great company I've bought a couple of loose bits off them before. They do all accessories. They do Vitas. They do modded PSPs. I think they're American.
It is. It's the same place.
Yeah, that is. They're very good, highly rated. I'm tempted to get one as well myself. But I hope you liked that episode.
I love this.
Our 10 what we think PSP games for new retro collectors. There's a great selection in there, like I say, from action JRPGs to, arcade games to racing games to, and a bit of GTA to a bit of a party game. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you liked that. We'll do a little bit of housekeeping before we go. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thanks for listening and downloading. You probably heard us mention UCP or Unofficial Controller Podcast. That is our main show, which has been going for,
The
9 years
mothership.
now. Yeah, the mothership, which is over 330 episodes. So go check us out on all your streaming devices or whatever your download devices, whatever you use to listen to your podcast.
PSP.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to us on a PSP. That's what we ought to do. Do a show on a UMD. We've also got our website, unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. Go check it out for all your gaming goodies on there and challenges and bits and pieces and a bit about us and the shows and whatever else we do. There's reviews on there a lot. Email us if you've got any questions you want to let us know. That is questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. You can contact us as well through your podcast supplier with Contact the Show, and a lot of these little show notes you can leave your name on, and we'll give you a readout. We've got a brilliant Discord. Check that out, Unofficial Controller Podcast Discord, for all what's going on there with some great gamers, great little gaming family. We've got TikTok, we've got Instagram, and we've got X. Is there anything you want to add to that, George, or are we about there? Or
No, I just thank you to everyone who listens to this, and thank you to everyone who listens to the main show. We couldn't do this without you. We're very grateful for the support and the love that you show us. As RGT said, there's plenty of places to continue the journey, either through the great looking website or Captain Scarlet's TikTok channel, where he clips our words and makes us say things that are flagrantly not true but hilariously funny. So please go look us out wherever you can, subscribe wherever you can, follow wherever you can, tell a friend, and then get involved in the wider community. Hopefully see you and welcome you as a family member soon.
And also, I've had a few people ask me about flashback merch. We do T-shirts and we do like tote bags and bits and pieces. Anyone want anything? Just email us, questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. We'll get back to you on that and sort
Oh,
out
a
whatever you
tote
need.
bag. Why don't I have a tote bag?
You haven't bought one.
You're right. You're
No,
absolutely right.
I've just done a couple more tote bags. They've gone out. So if you want a tote bag, George, I will order you one. They're very
Thanks, mate.
the tote bags are very good. I think the people liked them when we done OLL this year. The flashback bags were quite popular. The tote bags.
So, yeah, mate, they were like, they're fire.
They are good. They look good. So yeah, thanks for joining me on this adventure into the PSP nostalgia trip, George.
My pleasure.
I think we're both going to be ending up buying a modern one from over the pond, I think.
This has kind of cemented it, if I'm honest with you.
It's for me as well.
Yeah, like, what am I thinking? Like, why haven't I pushed the button? Like, well, you're gonna have to wait a few days, but my son will be getting harangued for that web address, and I'll be going on there and ordering. I'd quite like a see-through orange one that gives me like Death Stranding vibes.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
I don't know if it's an option, but that would be my dream.
But yeah, brilliant. So I hope you enjoyed the show, everyone. Like I say, thanks for downloading, thanks for listening, thanks for sharing. Share all your gaming friends, and just remember, flashback, the games you loved, the stories you forgot. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week, and I'll see you next week, George.
See you guys. Thank you.
fly.